In this podcast episode, Jon Voight, now 85 years old, reflects on his upbringing and career in Hollywood. He mentions his father was a golf professional who had a promising career cut short by an accident. Voight describes his father as a man of high moral character who, though Catholic, rarely attended Mass due to back pain from the accident. His mother, however, attended Mass regularly. Voight recalls watching Bishop Fulton J. Sheen's television show with his father, which served as a form of spiritual education for them. Voight's background includes a military connection, as he describes himself as an army brat who lived in various places due to his father's military service. He currently resides in Connecticut. He emphasizes the influence of both his parents on his life, mentioning that they have been married for 53 years and are an interracial couple, his mother being white Irish-Italian and his father black. He expresses admiration for their endurance, especially considering they married in 1971 during the Civil Rights era. Voight's career spans Broadway, television, and film. He mentions upcoming projects, including Megalopolis, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, which premiered at the Cannes Film Festival to a 10-minute standing ovation. The film is set for release in September. Another project, Reagan, a biopic about President Ronald Reagan, in which Voight stars, is scheduled for release on August 30th. Voight discusses his personal life, including his marriage that lasted nearly 20 years and produced 2 children, Angelina Jolie and James Haven. He expresses regret over the end of his marriage and the impact it had on his children. However, he speaks proudly of both Angelina and James, highlighting their humanitarian efforts. He mentions Angelina's work with refugees and her recent involvement in producing a Broadway show based on The Outsiders, which won a Tony Award, the first in their family. James, he notes, is focused on combating human trafficking and is set to direct Voight in an upcoming film project. Voight shares his conservative political views, expressing support for Donald Trump and criticizing the current administration under Joe Biden. He believes Trump's leadership qualities and accomplishments during his presidency, such as handling North Korea and improving the economy, make him the right choice for the country. He criticizes what he sees as attempts to erase Trump's achievements and questions the motives behind certain policy decisions, like shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. Voight expresses concern about what he perceives as a leftist influence in education, media, and Hollywood, tracing it back to KGB efforts in the 1960s to create division in American society. He believes these efforts have been largely successful, leading to a lack of appreciation for American history and values among younger generations. He criticizes the spread of atheism and what he sees as a self-serving attitude among some influential figures. Voight also comments on recent events, such as the Israel-Hamas conflict, expressing support for Israel and criticizing what he perceives as anti-Israel sentiment in some quarters. He expresses concern about the spread of propaganda and the impact it has had on public opinion, particularly among college students. A significant portion of the conversation revolves around Voight's faith journey. He describes a pivotal moment in his late 30s or early 40s when, at a low point in his life, he had a spiritual experience that changed his perspective. He heard a voice saying, "It's supposed to be difficult," which he interpreted as a sign of divine understanding and care. This experience marked a turning point in his life, leading to a deeper engagement with his faith. Voight expresses a belief in God and angels and emphasizes the importance of spiritual awareness in his life. He discusses his Catholic background, but also expresses respect for other religions, including Judaism and Hinduism. He sees faith as a source of strength and guidance in his life and work. The actor reflects on his past mistakes and the concept of forgiveness, both divine and personal. He references the biblical concept of God forgetting sins once true repentance occurs, and suggests that this should inspire people to forgive themselves and others. He acknowledges his own struggles with forgiveness, particularly regarding the pain caused to his children by his divorce, but expresses a commitment to continual self-improvement and making amends. Voight speaks lovingly of his children and grandchildren. He has 6 grandchildren through Angelina Jolie and expresses admiration for her parenting skills, particularly her efforts to support each child's unique interests and aspirations. He shares an anecdote about Angelina's involvement in producing The Outsiders on Broadway, inspired by her daughter Vivienne's passion for the story. Despite past difficulties in their relationship, Voight expresses pride in Angelina's humanitarian work, particularly her efforts on behalf of refugees. He acknowledges some concerns about her involvement with the UN, which he views as problematic, but overall speaks positively of her commitment to making a difference in the world. Voight mentions that he doesn't see his grandchildren as often as he'd like, partly due to protective measures during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, he maintains contact by sending handwritten notes, poems, and drawings to each child, ensuring they have a record of his love for them. Throughout the conversation, Voight expresses concern about various social and political issues. He criticizes what he sees as a decline in education, particularly regarding American history and values. He believes there's been a concerted effort to undermine traditional American principles and create division along lines of race, gender, and religion. Voight is critical of communism and socialism, arguing that these systems have never worked and only bring despair. He expresses concern about what he perceives as communist influence in American institutions, including universities and the media. The actor also comments on the current state of American politics, expressing disappointment with the Biden administration and concern about election integrity. He supports efforts to ensure fair elections and speaks positively about initiatives to place attorneys at voting locations to monitor the process. Voight emphasizes the importance of doing the right thing each day. He expresses a desire to use his remaining time to make a positive difference in the world, particularly for children. He believes in the possibility of world peace, referencing biblical prophecies, but acknowledges that achieving this requires overcoming negative forces both within ourselves and in the world. The actor shares his admiration for historical figures like Abraham Lincoln and the principles established by America's founding fathers. He sees these as ideals worth protecting and promoting. Voight expresses a commitment to continual self-improvement and a desire to leave a positive legacy. He hopes that his children will eventually be proud of him and find happiness in their own lives. He measures his own success not by career achievements or awards, but by his ability to do the right thing each day and positively impact those around him. The conversation concludes with Voight expressing appreciation for the opportunity to have a deeper, more personal discussion than typical interviews allow. He acknowledges that he shared more personal information than he initially intended, but found value in the exchange. The host, Sage Steele, emphasizes the importance of such open conversations in helping people realize they're not alone in their struggles and experiences. The interview ends with a recitation of the West Point Cadet Prayer, which includes the line, "Help me to choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong." Voight expresses admiration for this sentiment, seeing it as applicable not just to military life, but to all aspects of personal and societal challenges. He views this principle as particularly relevant to the current state of American society and politics, emphasizing the need to make difficult but morally correct choices.